Hi guys, I'm Adam Wilborn from WhatCulture, joined by Adam Nicholas from WhatCulture, here with all the news you need to know ahead of AEW Full Gear tonight. We will be doing a live stream reaction to it, of course, so make sure you join us for that in, less than an hour's time, probably after this news video goes out. But speaking of AEW, ahead of Full Gear, Tony Khan has been doing a little press conference, speaking to the likes of Sports Illustrated, and more allusions to the fact that we could see an AEW New Japan, I was going to say coalition there, but working relationship is probably the best way of putting it. He talked about a load of things in this interview, really interesting, well worth checking out. But when it came to New Japan and working with AEW, Khan said, "Nothing is impossible. I'm open to working with companies. You've seen us work with AAA and the NWA, among others. So certainly I don't think it's impossible that we could do something there. I've had good conversations with them in the past, so you never know." Of course, we saw the likes of Tanahashi appearing on AEW as part of Chris Jericho's 30-year celebration. Now, that was apparently more to do with Tanahashi and Jericho's relationship rather than anything to do with New Japan and AEW. But it's something we've been speculating on for quite some time, this, Nicholas, and fingers crossed they can work something out.
I mean, this really does feel like a no-brainer, doesn't it? We've seen already, we have champions, I guess, still in New Japan, who are, of course, AEW superstars. Superstars? Do they even have superstars in AEW? I don't know. AEW wrestlers. But this just feels like it makes perfect sense. If they can figure a deal out whereby everybody's a winner, which these two companies working together is certainly the way forward. Yes, you've got WWE, who are very much their brand, nobody else. That's the thing. I don't think that's the way to go. I think wrestling companies should work together. I think they should do what's best for business and actually do what's best for business. And you can't tell me, Adam Wilborn, that if they put on a super card between AEW and New Japan properly and built to it on TV, not just like when Ring of Honor and New Japan would put a show on together, although they are good, or were good certainly back then, I feel like if they did this on AEW television properly and could also cross the New Japan, I mean, that's got to be a huge, huge show and like a massive pay-per-view by that one.
Yeah, exactly. I think it works so well for both shows. Like you say, AEW would benefit from having some of the New Japan stars on there. You know, New Japan are doing well, but you can't tell me they don't miss the likes of the Young Bucks and Kenny Omega. Just establishing that, having them to trade talent, and obviously, as Tony Khan alluded to, the working relationship they've already got with AAA, the stuff that we've got. I mean, the NWA Women's World Championship is being defended on the buy-in tonight. So I hope that these groups can work it out, because I think it'd be beneficial for all wrestling fans. Like you say, I think it's something that every wrestling company in the world should be open to doing, but it's just the biggest one is really against that. Very quickly as well, Tony Khan in that Sports Illustrated interview also talked about Full Gear, saying he thinks it's probably the best card they've put on, and he's even alluded to a sort of backstage edict about calming it down with the dangerous spots. We saw what happened with that the last time AEW tried to do a major pay-per-view like this. So hopefully, I think there's even got some sort of backstage neurologist I read about. Hopefully that's been taken care of, and I'm really looking forward to tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that, again, just to reiterate that, the safety of the performers has to come first. I know you want to put on these amazing matches, and these guys are, of course, the majority of them bred through the independents. Therefore, it has that nature. They lean towards that tendency in matches. But we don't want to see people getting injured, man. We don't want to see it. So hopefully we can find a nice middle ground where people don't have to get here. But you did mention the All Elite Wrestling Full Gear card tonight, Adam Wilborn. One man who isn't on the Full Gear card tonight, however, as you may have noticed, is, of course, your friend, my friend, the world's friend, is Big Miro, who is not appearing, of course, on Full Gear tonight. Now, you would imagine a man who has just come across and started a new career, essentially in AEW, should be starting to find his way into a card. But there's a good reason for this, it seems, and one that actually, the more I think about it, I think I'm kind of into. Let me explain a little bit. The Wrestling Observer are reporting, as per Dave Meltzer, they are apparently a very, very keen AEW to keep Miro and Kasabian's feud with the best friends, specifically for AEW television. Now, this is stuff we've seen before. It's not like this is a downgrade. This is just a very smart model for me that AEW choose to do. Instead of just putting everything and front loading the pay-per-views, they like to divide it out, and they want to make this an exclusive thing for AEW Dynamite. We've seen this before with, of course, the likes of Jon Moxley and Lance Archer had a lot of their issues on TV. We had Darby Allin and Ricky Starks. We've had Best Friends and Santana and Ortiz from the Inner Circle, and of course we've had Jake Hager and Brian Cage. All stuff that is featured specifically on AEW Dynamite. which brings fans and eyes specifically to that product. Now, I know everybody, the old-fashioned way is to sort of move towards pay-per-view, and that's where you're going to get your big payoff. But in fairness, I think this is pretty shrewd. Putting a lot of stuff on Dynamite to make fans go across and watch it on there is surely just as important, Adam Wilborn, for a company as young as AEW.
Yeah, I think it's two things, isn't it? I don't think that the ongoing issues that we've seen with best friends, Miro and Kip Sabian, actually merit getting on this pay-per-view, if I'm perfectly honest. I think, you've got an 8-match card, 9 if you include the buy-in already, and it would just be needless. I've been conditioned through my years as a WWE fan to just assume that was what was going to happen later on this week or something. But yeah, I'm fine with it being a TV feud. Like you say, it's nice of them to hold certain things back. I think that's a way that these wrestling companies should be thinking, as much as things have shifted with the network, but then the counterbalance of AEW charging for pay-per-views and what have you. I like that as an idea. I just kind of want them to get on with the whole Kip Sabian Miro sort of thing. I know he's brought in as the best man, and there's a justification for their friendship. We're all kind of waiting for Miro to really break out, and that can't really happen, in my opinion, until the inevitable turn on Kip Sabian happens. So I want to get to the stag do, I want to get to the wedding day, and just see how that all falls to pieces, I suppose.
Hang on, you mean to tell me that a wedding in wrestling won't go as planned, Adam Wilborn? I won't hear of it. There is no such statistics to back it up, although I guess you can do that these days, can't you?
Exactly. Continuing the talk about AEW, though, Pac, of course, returned on this week's Dynamite. Well, multiple Pacs, it seemed, at one point in that promo. Great to see him there. Cannot wait to see him back in AEW. And there's some more discussion in the Wrestling Observer newsletter about how AEW are going to handle Pac, because I think the issue, which we all can guess why he hasn't been there for so long, is the ongoing global bastard. But the problem here isn't necessarily getting Pac to America as much as travel bans and what have you. We've seen the likes of Tony Storm or Pete Dunne, for example, finally arriving in NXT. The issue they have is actually Pac going back home after AEW tapings and the quarantine that would go along with that. That is kind of why he hasn't, just shown up, for example, on Dynamite. AEW officials reportedly having creative plans for him. It's just, I suppose, working around the limitations of the world we live in right now.
Yeah, absolutely. And you think, of course, if you would imagine Pac's intention might be to go back home after shows and stuff, then there's obviously going to be the inevitable delay because he has to go into quarantine to make sure on either end that he's not bringing or taking back anything with him. So it's one of those, is the juice worth the squeeze? If you get him to a pay-per-view without having him be on TV, you could do it that way, I guess. But I think they probably want to hold off until they know for a fact they can either get him to come across permanently, which he may be hesitant to do, or until they can figure out a viable option, which would mean they could do both and everybody could have their cake and eat it. But right now, that might not necessarily be something that works for both parties, you'd think.
No, exactly. And I think you have to respect Pac in this scenario as well, because a lot of people will just go, oh, well, why wouldn't you just go and then stay in America? Oh, just stay in America for the next, 6 months, when he's from here. He's from literally over there.
Like, you say 6 months,
family and friends are here. Like, you don't know how long it's going to go on for, do you?
We have no idea how long it could go on for, and that's a massive commitment. And in fairness, this is just another thing that backs up the sort of great working relationship we've seen with AEW and their talent. If you remember rightly, of course, Pac didn't want to do the job in that early pay-per-view, I believe, and ended up dropping out. Didn't want to damage the Open the Dreamgate Championship, of course, so ended up not having a match at, was it the very first pay-per-view? Double or Nothing was the first one?
Quite possibly.
I can't remember. It was a very long time ago. Please do let us know in the comments if we got that wrong. But all the way back then, and AEW was still all right to let him do that. There's obviously a good working relationship here. It's not going to affect his performance. You can't imagine he's going to be squashed like he would be in WWE if he'd done this. And I just think...
bloody lucky.
He is. Well, of course, that's very true. But you want to make sure it's in the best interests for everybody involved. And rushing him back, as much as I want to see him, as much as the next person, might not be the best thing. I don't think so. Anyway, shall we move on to our last bit of news for the day? Is it news? Is this news? It's news. Of course it's news. Listen, of course it's news. You will recall, it's a little bit more lighthearted, and you know what it is? I think we all need a little bit of lighthearted stuff every now and again. This will solve the great mystery that I know a lot of you at home have probably been wondering about. As you will recall, not very long, well, I say not very long ago, although I have completely lost all gauge of space and time at this point, you will remember over the Twitterverse, we saw Dana Brooke and Dave Bautista having a little dalliance there a little while back. It genuinely sent a lot of people into weird thirsting, I think it's fair to say. And eventually, after a lot of back and forth on Twitter, which people were going genuinely mad for, and to be fair, it almost actually ended up getting Dana Brooke over, I think, in WWE at that time, which was a weird sort of rub to get from Dave Bautista. Not like that. But anyway, they did end up actually going on a date together, would you believe? You may or may not know this. And we actually have the what happened on the date that when they went out together. This comes from an interview that Dana Brooke was doing with Forbes magazine. Now, fascinating this. What a world we're living in. She was talking to Forbes during an interview, and she basically explained how on the date her and Batista went out. Her and the animal of all people went to the meat market down in Tampa, Adam Wilborn, for their date. But apparently, according to the sources, the source being Dana Brooke, of course, things didn't exactly. It's not that they went wrong. It just didn't quite work out the way they were hoping. They remained friends, but ultimately, I guess they figured maybe their schedules didn't meet up. Maybe it wasn't the right thing for either of them at the time. Who knows? But either way, we got a lovely couple of weeks, maybe even a month or two out of it while they were on Twitter. It didn't work out, but they remain friends, Adam Wilborn. And I guess you could say, Adam Wilborn, Dave Bautista will continue to walk alone.
Oh, you git. Yeah. It's a question that has been on my mind from the moment we saw that blatantly obvious sliding into the DMs. And yeah, it's just nice to hear they went out. And look, sometimes these things don't work out, as you said. It's just nice that they can just say, yeah, that's that. Nice to meet you. Let's stay friends, etc. That's okay too.
That's okay. When you shoot a shot so publicly as well, we can't just demand results just because we want it. And we were part of the process that brought them together. I'm sure between the pair of them, Adam Wilborn, they are just biding their time until they can find the right partner for them who can lead them into a better future.
Indeed. On that note, let us know your thoughts on everything we've discussed today. Don't forget to join us for our AEW Full Gear live stream in just a few minutes' time. Hell of a card to look forward to. Let us know your thoughts in the comments. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And subscribe to WhatCulture Wrestling on either iTunes, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcast from for daily wrestling podcasts, including myself and Michael Hamlet sitting down to discuss Full Gear at a ridiculous time on Sunday morning, to be perfectly honest. You can let us know your thoughts on everything we discussed and let us know your Twitter questions for the guys over the next few days at WhatCulture WWE. Watch there. Follow both of us. You can follow Adam Nicholas at
It's Adam Nicholas. You can follow Adam Wilborn at
Adam Wilborn. Follow us all at WhatCulture WWE. As I said, join us for our Full Gear live stream. But for now, my thanks to Adam Nicholas. Thank you for joining us, and we will see you soon.